half years ago, I believe it was in May of 2016, I think it was, or June, one of the two, it was announced that in July of 2016, not only was SmackDown moving, who had just recently moved to USA Network earlier in the year, or the year before, but not only were they moving from Thursday nights to Tuesday nights, it was going to be live, and the WWE was going to bring back the brand split. And me being a late bloomer wrestling fan, I was hyped, as I thought that was an excellent idea to do so. The roster was stacked. It would allow, that two separate shows. It will allow, a lot more superstars to get TV time, a lot more, opportunities. Of course, there were some questions at the time. What was going to happen to the championships? Is SmackDown going to go 2 hours? Go 3 hours? Is Raw going to go back to 2 hours? There was all these questions. We were wondering what's going to happen. And for the past 5 years, I've been pro brand split. I've always been for them keeping the brand split, even though it did bring out some flaws, some kinks. I will be honest and say that there's way too many titles. It is definitely, caused a lot of storylines to get lazy, since they originally started out with brand specific pay-per-views. The problem was they were doing 2 pay-per-views a month, one for each brand. Personally, what I would have done is had one pay-per-view a month, and it'd be one month it'd be Raw, one month it'd be SmackDown, and then of course do a dual brand pay-per-view or something like that. Don't just overdo it with like 20 pay-per-views a year, which that was way too many pay-per-views. And then of course the problem was they made all pay-per-views dual branded in 2018 after WrestleMania 34. All pay-per-views were dual branded. And of course, with the majority of the matches always being championship matches, I felt the storylines got very lazy. And the product continued to tank and get much more lazy. But through all that, even though I would rather seen some titles merged and such, I want to see a little more competition between the brands. We never got that. Despite all that, I was still pro brand split. Because my biggest thing was it was giving a lot more faces opportunities. Because the roster was absolutely stacked. Until 2022. Until recently, I have now completely changed my mind of how I feel about that concept now. Right now, I'm making a bold prediction for 2022 for WWE. I believe this is the year, maybe just temporary, to end the brand split. They somewhat did back in 2019. Remember the months of the dreadful wild card rule? That lovely rule that I just ranted about for months and months because I hated it. I felt like it was back in the days where Raw was the main show, SmackDown was more so like the recap show, and I barely even watched SmackDown back then. I never, actually, until the brand split, I barely ever watched SmackDown. Once in a blue moon, if something caught my attention, it would, but to me, it felt like a recap show. It felt like another episode of like Main Event or Superstars or whatever heck you want to call those shows now. But like I said, they have given Superstars opportunities, but now I'm leaning back towards the direction, I believe so, that 2022 should be the year they end the brand split. And why? There's one main reason as well. Depth. With how irrelevant superstars have been made over several years, like the past 6 years, ever since the brand split happened, who has been the most the ones that they relied on the most, the ones they've given so much time to on pay-per-views to? they've actually built up to make them stars, even if we've eventually gotten sick of them. You could say Roman Reigns. You could say Brock Lesnar. Recently, Drew McIntyre, definitely. Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Bayley, if you want to. Well, they oversaturate the hell out of Nia Jax, even though she was always green as hell. She's moved on to better things now, of course. But that's just a few names. There's so many other people who have come and gone since. The past year, including NXT, WWE has released over 100 wrestlers. Over 100 big names. Going into 2020 and 2021, you still had a good roster that you had a lot of people you were hoping to see would break through that year. One particular, of course, on the main roster, definitely, even though he was released just a few months ago, Keith Lee. For the past 2 years, well, last year he was sick, but the past 2 years, I would say Keith Lee to me was always a favorite for me to win the Rumble. Last year also, Big E was a favorite to win the Rumble. Actually, I also wanted to see Daniel Bryan to win the Rumble. He didn't have to win the Rumble, but he still got in the match. A little odd booking, of course, at WrestleMania. Last year, the year before, for both Rumbles, there was a lot of fresh faces, a lot of people. I was someone different. That's my thing. I don't mind people, being like, multi-time world champion or multi-time Royal Rumble winners or whatnot. But there are times also where it's like, you gotta give someone new, the spotlight. And one of those grand moments to do that is definitely the Royal Rumble. I'm heading into 2022 not that excited at all for the Royal Rumble. The match itself. The one match that I'm excited about for the Rumble pay-per-view, of course, is Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. But to me, now that's showing that, that's probably going to be leading to probably Brock retaining over Bobby, which I don't think is a good idea. I think Bobby Lashley should be beating Brock Lesnar. He is someone meant to beat Brock Lesnar. And Brock's probably going to go to WrestleMania and have a champion versus champion feud. So at this, a title for title match with Roman Reigns, which, I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of. I've seen the match how many times? I was okay with them doing it at Crown Jewel. I would have been okay with it happening at Day 1 and even Rumble. But I'm sick of the match happening at WrestleMania. I'm sorry. Even when I saw the match at Crown Jewel, it was fine. It was probably their second best match compared to their match at WrestleMania 31. But I've looked at it, I'm like, it's just not that great. I'm sick of the match. I've seen it how many times. There is really nobody at all for me wanting to see win the Rumble. They even apparently on SmackDown last night announced 29 of the 30 superstars for the Women's Royal Rumble with one surprise entrant. I mean, yes, we're being told like people like Michelle McCool, Kelly, Mickie James, even though she's the Impact Women's World Champion, the Bella Twins. We're getting people enter, but we already know who it is. Charlotte Flair also is entering the match as SmackDown Women's Champion. So what, are we going to see for the millionth time Becky and Charlotte again? If they're going to merge those titles too? Like, if you want to merge the titles, that's fine, but just give me some fresh matches, please. That's all I asked for. But, in short, that's the biggest problem. What I said before, why I was pro brand split, is there was a lot of depth. The roster was stacked with talent. Yes, some weren't utilized well at all, but there's still a lot of options there. A lot of options for these stars that the only few stars they want to push. Lots of options for them. Now, with all the releases, who is there? Like, really, who is there new for Roman Reigns to wrestle that he has not wrestled yet? Who is there? Well, there's a few people for Brock Lesnar, I will say that. But for Roman, who else is there? They apparently have Seth Rollins, who is a heel, by the way, and on Raw, fighting Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble for the Universal title, the SmackDown title. Like, they have no options, that they literally have to go brand versus brand now, or whatever the heck you want to call it. Like, there's no depth. There's no depth in any of these divisions. Like, the tag team division for the past few years, I'd say 2017 or 2018. To me, that's when I'm just like, they were breaking up tag teams left and right. And I'm like, where are your tag teams? There's no depth there. The women's division, like I said, the 4 Horsewomen are like the only people that they've really, like, made feel relevant. And Bianca Belair, of course, also. Everybody else, you don't even stand a chance. They don't. There's no depth there either. I mean, you can keep the 2 mid-card titles, like one United States Champion, one Intercontinental Champion, which how it should have been all the time. You had one mid-card champion on one brand, one on the other, one world title, one women's title, one tag title. Get rid of the stupid 24/7 championship, that stupid Fisher-Price toy, which is basically just the low-card title, basically. But my point exactly is, there is absolutely no depth in the roster. And with how many releases we've had, there's nobody there. There's nobody there. And to me, you don't have a strong enough roster now to have 2 shows. You really only have a strong enough roster for 1 show. Even if they don't, and I meant to put it up there, that didn't look like I was giving someone a finger, but go up there. But and even, of course, if you had 1 show, you know it's going to go back to 1 show being, the main show. Otherwise, I feel like the recap show. So I probably would go back to just watching 1 show anyway, if WWE even gave me a reason to care again to watch their product full time. Like, I didn't watch SmackDown last night. I didn't even watch Raw on Monday. Like I said, I'm not watching these weekly shows full time. I don't even watch NXT anymore. I don't even know why I even have NXT in this graphic right here. But, my argument exactly is, again, the reason why I think this will be the year of the brand split ending again, all the releases. There's no depth. There's no stars. There's no one that everybody cares about. So, why should there be 2 shows where there's barely any competition for the championships also for them to be wrestling over? To me, that's a problem. And to me, it's something that I feel should be addressed. So that's why I say 2022 should be the year that WWE drops the brand split. Maybe if some miraculous reason, even though I don't see it happening, but maybe if someday if that roster does get stacked again, like it was in 2016, then maybe we can revisit the brand split then, if the company's not dead by then. But for now, I think it's time. It's time to drop the brand split. Even if you wanted to, let's do this. Even if you still wanted to do the brands, have 2 shows. You don't need 3, you just need 2. NXT's pointless, so why not have 1 main roster show and 1 developmental show? What's the point of 2? But let's check the live chat, see if it was in the live chat. We got Tyler again. He said they should cut NXT lame and cringe and have these wrestlers on Raw and SmackDown. They could, at this point, honestly, they should just have everybody from NXT call up, be their own show, or call them up in general to expand the roster again. Again, they're only there because NXT's now is a show that has stars who are going to be stars. They're going to be pushed on the main roster, which is basically them coming up saying only people that Vince McMahon likes and no one else's opinion matters. So yes, that's why, like I said, just have 1 main roster show and 1 developmental show. We got Robbie. He's saying the last 2 brand splits have been absolutely pointless because most of the superstars drafted stay on their original show, and when certain champions get drafted, title situations become predictable. And that's true as well. Like, anytime we've had a title switch brands, When did it really feel like it was that important? Because most of the time it was just, oh, one champion got drafted here, one got drafted here. And in the past couple drafts they did, which they did with the tag titles and the women's title, they basically just had them come up to each other and say, hey, swap titles since you're on different shows now. So that was dumb. Like in 2019 it was, when Bray Wyatt won the Universal title off of Seth Rollins, which we didn't think was going to happen because Brock got drafted to SmackDown, and Bray was drafted on SmackDown, and Seth was still on Raw. I was surprised, and of course Brock Lesnar just voluntarily moved himself over to Raw. Like, that worked. But now, you got this. Just lame title swap and everything. And Mark says, hey Mike, and then Lauren says, time to end the brand. Tyler says the draft should be the world or mid card titles. Not sure what he meant by that, but yeah. But that's my thoughts. There's a couple of thoughts in the audience of of my bold prediction. What do you guys think? Do you guys think the brand split should end in 2022? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. As always, be sure to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content to my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirBrownie3. And give me this. If you disagree and think they should keep the brand split, list your reasons why in the comment section down below as well. I'd be interested to hear. Alright guys, well, it's late at night. I got to get to bed in a few minutes. I didn't get to record everything I wanted to record today, but I'll try to record some stuff before I catch my flight tomorrow. But this will definitely be the last live stream I do until I get back from my trip. Anything else I upload, which would be a Seinfeld reviews, and then maybe a Harry Potter Let's Play. Maybe. Like I said, I have... depends how late I sleep in tomorrow, and like I said, I have to be at the airport for 3 o'clock tomorrow. So, we'll see what I can get done by then. So until then, guys, I'm checking out, and if you guys don't watch any of my stuff I upload tomorrow or later tonight, whenever I do, I'll see you guys in a week when I get back from Vegas, and just stay safe out there always, and happy days, I guess. So guys, I'm checking out. I'll see you guys in a week. Peace out, everybody.